This week we're trekking through the jungles of Green Hell. Will we survive?
Strangely, it feels safer here than there.
Oh, I don't know. Jaguars, venomous spiders, and snakes. Let's not forget the scorpions. A mere ant's bite hurts like hell.
I am well aware of that. But still, we have a chance to achieve something.
Alright, so this week I'm reviewing Green Hell, a survival game that plops you in the middle of a jungle where you have to monitor your food, water, your sleep, your sanity, and fight off the elements. And by the elements, I mean you got jaguars, poisonous spiders, rattlesnakes, tribesmen. This jungle is designed to kill you. And you have two ways to play in this jungle. You have survival mode, which is essentially a big open sandbox of the map where you can feel free to play as you please. And there's also a story mode. All of which, in both of these modes, you can play co-op up to 4 players. So I would say the story starts off fairly strong. The voice acting is done very well. It's you and your girlfriend or your wife plopped in this jungle here to seek information on these tribesmen. Now there is a lot of lore within this game that you can read about while you're playing, and just through dialogue with your wife. Your character wrote a book about these tribesmen, and it unfortunately had some repercussions. The media, everybody is after these tribesmen, and it is effectively destroying them. So you and your wife are here to try and communicate with them and further help them. But of course, it doesn't just go quite as planned. And I'll kind of leave it at that because this story dives really deep into some psychedelic trips and just is an awesome time, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Hey, wait! What?
So what makes Green Hell a survival game? Well, you have many things to monitor while you're out traversing the jungle. You have carbohydrates to monitor, you have your hydration to monitor, you have your fats to monitor, and your proteins to monitor. These all of which are obtained through, of course, water and various types of foods that you really have to discover on your own. Much like this game, it's a lot of trial and error. Picking up a mushroom, eating it, finding out what it does. Does it make you sick? Does it give you food poisoning? Does it kill parasites? All of these things you find out just through playing the game. Nothing is just told to you. And that I do like. You grab a stick, you then learn how to build a stick holder and various tools that use the stick. So just to give you an idea, you pick up a rope, you pick up a stick, you pick up 2 bones. You can then create a bone axe. All of this you have to just figure out by grabbing materials and then putting them on a crafting table and just kind of piecing it all together. And everything in this game is very realistic in the sense that you have to manually do just about everything. There's no sort of menu or tile system. It's all just sifting through your bag, putting things on top of each other and crafting it. So of course, on top of all those food types and the hydration that you're monitoring, of course you need to be checking up on your sleep and your sanity. This is a feature that I really like, because if your character goes insane and you're not resting by a fire or sleeping in beds properly, well, you'll slowly lose your mind and it can essentially kill you. There is, of course, building. You can build a base that's up to 2 stories tall. You can, of course, do just wood or bamboo, or eventually upgrade to mud brick. And just like most of these games, you start off with stone and wooden tools, and you can work your way up to obsidian and metal tools and armor. And you're definitely going to want armor because there are all sorts of things out to kill you. Wasps that will sting you and give you a fever, or ant mounds that you can just simply walk into by accident and give you a rash. If you eat spoiled food, you can get food poisoning. Or if you fall off a ledge or get scratched by an animal, All of these wounds and infections you have to tend to, or your character will die. There is flora that you have to find, and then of course, again, just like I said, through some sort of trial and error, figure out what bandages to use on what cuts or on what sort of stings and bites.
God, I'm thirsty.
Now, unfortunately, there are a couple negative things that I should touch up on. The game, unfortunately, isn't always as smooth as I think it should be, especially playing on the Series X. There are sometimes frame rate drops, and when you're killing some of the AI, arguably they are pretty dumb at times. And of course, another thing I have to gripe about maybe just a little bit is the controls. They do have it nailed down fairly well. Like, I've played some other survival games, and it is, it is definitely better than most. But, with the whole backpack system, you're spending a lot of time scrolling with the analog stick, placing one item on top of another, and unfortunately this might again just take some out of the experience. But that's really it. There is not much to complain about with this game. If you are playing multiplayer, you have to keep in mind whoever is hosting the session is the one that can only play on that server or session. Whoever's player 2, 3, or 4 can save the game, which of course is a good idea to save your progress, but you do not have that save file to access on your own. But anyways, I loved Green Hell. This survival experience is unlike anything I've played on the console to date, and I cannot recommend this one enough. So if I were to score this beautiful jungle and this crazy survival experience, well, it has to get an 8.5. If the frame rate issues weren't there and the AI were maybe just a little smarter, this one could almost be a perfect game. So that's it, guys. 8.5 for me. Green Hell makes you feel the true stresses of living in an Amazon-like experience. Monitoring over your hydration, carbs, proteins, and fats while trying to stay sane makes every bush and sound something to look out for. All of this complemented by a very well put together campaign and stunning graphics. This is a true survival experience.